Happy learning! Today we're going to talk about stable marriages. Okay, I know what you're thinking. What the heck do stable marriages have to do with graph theory? Well, we'll find out. Okay, so up until this point, we have only been concerned with finding the largest possible matching. But there's many applications where bigger is not necessarily better. Right, and so we're going to look at an example like pairing people up for marriage, for instance, or matching residents to hospitals, where there's some preferences that each person has, and we want people to be happy, okay? So what we're going to look at is, it's called stable marriage problem, but it has applications in other places. Okay, actually, before we get to the definition. So up to this point, we have only been concerned with finding the largest possible matching. In many cases, one pairing may be preferable to another. All right, so today we're going to talk about matchings where there's some sort of preference rankings involved. All right, it's good stuff. All right, so a matching is called stable if no unmatched pair is unstable. Okay, what does unstable mean? If X and Y are not matched, but both rank the other higher than their current partner, then X and Y form an unstable pair. Right, so this is saying that X would be willing to leave their partner to marry Y, and Y would be willing to leave their partner to marry X. So X and Y want to leave to join each other. Okay? So let's take a look at an example. We're going to have 4 men and 4 women who are going to be paired up to, let's say, go to prom. I don't know, whatever, okay? So here are the, so there's Anne. This is an example. Anne ranks the guys. T is better than R, is better than S, is better than W. All right, so that's Anne's ranking. Ted, Rob, Stan, Will. Brenda ranks them S. I'm not going to put the inequalities each time, just biggest is on the left and it gets smaller. W, R, T. Carol, W, R, S, T. And Diana, R, S, T, W. All right, so this is how the women rank the men. The men have preferences about the women as well. All right, so Rob is a simple man. He's an alphabetical order kind of guy, which is fine. Stan, AC, BD. Ted, CD, AB. And finally, Will, CB, AD. And so my question to you is the following: stable or unstable? All right, and so here is the pairing, or the matching, sorry. Anne with Rob. Brenda with Ted. Carol with Stan. And Diana with Will. Okay, and so what you need to check is, are there a pair of people that are not currently matched together that would both leave their current partner for the other person? Okay, so it might take a little bit of time to play around with this, but try to find, is there an unstable pair? And okay, here, a little spoiler alert, so pause if you don't want the spoiler alert. There is an unstable pair, so see if you could find it, all right? Okay, welcome back. So there is an unstable pair. This first pair, like Rob is happy with Amber. Not Amber, Rob and Amber. Google Rob and Amber, Survivor, okay? The only person Anne would leave is for Ted. So Anne would leave Rob for Ted, but Ted is matched up with Brent. Oh, Ted would, okay, there you go. That's not the one I have in my notes, but all right. So Anne would leave Rob for Ted, and Ted would leave Brenda for Anne. So they're an unstable pair. Right? Ted would happily leave Brenda for Anne. Anne would happily leave Rob for Ted. They're an unstable pair. Okay, so Anne and Ted are an unstable pair. They would both leave who they're currently with to join the other. Okay, another example of an unstable pair, if you couldn't tell, this one surprised me. Brenda and Will. Okay, Brenda is with Ted. So Brenda would happily leave Ted to be with Will. Will is with Diana, and Will would happily leave Diana to go with Brenda. So Brenda and Will is another unstable pair. This whole pairing is an absolute mess. Okay, so let me show you how to guarantee you have a stable matching, sorry. And that is with the Gale-Shapley algorithm. All right, so what are the inputs? So in order to run this algorithm, we need how the men rank the women and how the women rank the men. So that's the preference ranking. All right, so we're going to have the same number of men and women, and we have the total rankings for each of them. All right, so here are the steps. And so the way I'm going to describe it is that the men are going to be the ones proposing and the women are the ones responding. Obviously, the opposite works. Obviously, this applies to not just men and women, but it's just easiest to describe that way. Okay, so first step. Each man proposes to their highest ranking woman. Okay, so Rob would propose to Anne, Stan would propose to Anne, Ted would propose to Carol, Will would propose to Carol. Okay, now the ball is in the ladies' court. If every woman receives exactly one proposal, so if every woman receives only one proposal, they all say yes. Okay, it's as simple as that. But as we've seen here, with the men proposing to the women, Anne would get 2 proposals, Carol would get 2 proposals. So what happens in that case? Okay, so step 3, which is kind of the important step here. If a woman receives more than one, okay, so if she receives more than one proposal, she will say yes if it's to her top available choice. And so she would say yes to her top available man and no to the others. Okay, so in that case, if she gets a proposal from her top available choice, she would say yes to that person, obviously. If she does not get a proposal from her top choice, she says maybe. Okay, so second thing is she delays. So she'll delay with a maybe to the highest ranked man that proposed to her. Okay, so we're going to do this example in a second. But like looking at Anne gets a proposal from Rob and Stan. Neither are her top choices. So she's going to say maybe to Rob. And she's still going to say no to Stan. Okay, so delays with a maybe to the highest ranked. Okay, and so how does this continue? Well, the men are going to not propose again to the women that rejected them, but they will still propose to the ones that said maybe. All right, so step 4, I'm going to keep all this information here for our example. Step 4, so close it off. Step 4 is each man now proposes to the highest ranked unmatched woman. who hasn't rejected him. Okay, so if one of these men gets rejected, they're not going to keep proposing to that woman. They're going to move on. Okay, they're going to move on to the next person. And then the final step is repeat 2 through 4. Okay, and what's awesome about this algorithm is that the output is a stable marriage. There's going to be no unstable pairs. All right, so this algorithm guarantees to have a stable matching. Nobody would leave their partner for somebody else. No pair would each leave their partners for each other. There are going to be some people that didn't get their top choice, but their top choices aren't going to be willing to leave their current partner to join them. Okay, let's take a look at an example. So we have our rating preferences here, or our preferences. And so let's apply And so I think the easiest way to format this is basically we're going to have just a bunch of proposals happening. So we're going to have the 4 men, Rob, Stan, Ted, and Will. And they're going to propose. So proposal and result. Okay, and then there might be another round of it, and then another round, and another round, okay? So, first round, each man proposes to their top choice. Rob is going to propose to Anne. Stan is going to propose to Anne. Ted is going to propose to Carol. And Will is going to propose to Carol. Okay, so what happens? Well, we are not in the case where each woman got one proposal. So they have some decisions to make. Anne is going to, she did not get proposed to by her top choice. So she's going to say maybe to Rob and no to Stan. Okay, so Stan is going to move on. Carol got proposed to by Ted and Will. Carol's top choice is Will. So Carol's going to say yes to Will, and of course, no to Ted. So Ted is going to move on. Carol is now off the market. All right, well, you don't have to cross that one out because that was what happened. All right, and so now we go through with our next. Oh, and Will is off the market. All right, so now we go through our next wave of proposals. So here's a proposal and the result. So Rob is going to propose to Anne again. Stan is going to propose to Brenda. And Ted is going to propose to Diane. Diana. Okay, in this case, each of the unpaired women got proposed to by exactly one man? So they all say yes. All right, and so this matching is a stable matching. There's no unstable pair. That's what the Gale-Shapley algorithm guarantees. Okay, well, it's possible that some people are just not suitable for each other. And people would rather be alone than paired up with somebody else. Okay? And so we're going to talk about how to do Gale-Shapley's algorithm if there are unacceptable partners. And I'm not going to rewrite the whole algorithm. I'm going to just rewrite that decision-making step, step 3. All right, so this is the Gale-Shapley algorithm with unacceptable partners. Okay, so it's possible that just two people just do not find each other acceptable, and we would not want them to be paired up. All right, so step 1 and step 2 are the same. I mean, step 2 is slightly different. Obviously, a woman is not going to say yes to somebody she deems unacceptable. Seems reasonable. Okay, so step 3 is if a woman receives more than one proposal, she rejects proposals from unacceptable men. Okay? Or she accepts it if it's from her top available. And rejects the others, just like before. And then, again, delays with a maybe to the highest ranked proposal and rejects the rest. So this is very similar, right? This is the only difference, is she rejects from unacceptable men. Okay, so delays with a maybe to the highest ranked unmatched, proposal, and rejects the rest. Okay, and again, each man is going to propose to the top ranking woman that has yet to reject him. And this, again, will give us a stable matching. It just might not be, we might not get everybody matched up, but that's okay. All right, so let's do the same thing. Let's apply the Gale-Shapley algorithm. And here are the rankings. So TRSW again. Brenda does not like Stan. Stan is unacceptable to Brenda. All right, so here are the rankings. Here are how the women rank the men, and the men rank the women as follows. Okay. So let's now have the men propose to the women and see what happens. We could do this the opposite. We could have the women propose to the men. It makes no difference. We'll get a different matching, but it will still be stable. All right. So when we have unacceptable partners, we might get some weird things happening. But all right, the men are proposing. Rob and Stan both propose to Anne. Ted and Will both propose to Carol. Okay. Anne finds both Rob and Stan acceptable, so she could at some point be matched up with them. But neither is her top choice. So just like before, she's going to say maybe to Rob and no to Stan. Carol, again, Will is her favorite, so she'll say yes to Will and no to Ted. So let's update what we have. So Carol is now off the market. This worked. And Anne said no to Stan. So now we're ready for our next proposals. Okay. Rob proposes to Anne again. Stan proposes to Brenda. And Ted proposes to Diane. Note that Brenda does not find Will acceptable. So we're not at this point where they all say yes. We're going to have this very similar basically, we're going to reject anybody that's unacceptable, throw out a bunch of maybes, and then resubmit. Okay? So in this case, Brenda says absolutely not to Stan. Stan is unacceptable to Brenda. So that's a no. That's a no for me, dog. Rob is still not Amber's top available, so it's still a maybe. And Ted is not Diana's top available, so it's still a maybe. All right, so we have one more round of proposals, maybe more. Let's see. Stan is out of women to propose to. He finds Carol and Diana unacceptable, so he would rather just not propose to anybody. So Stan has nobody to propose to. Rob, for the third time, proposes to Anne. Ted, for the second time, proposes to Diana. They both find these men acceptable. They both only got one proposal, so they're going to say yes. All right, and so our matching is, again, Rob with Anne, Ted and Diane, and Will and Carol. All right, so in this case, because we had unacceptable partners, Stan and Brenda, they just ended up single, and that's okay. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed my lesson on stable marriages. If you need any marriage advice, rewatch the video. Okay? That's all I have. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.